Wait, what did Hutch say about me?
Speaking of blanket bans, I really am calling for a blanket ban on analogies in the political space. It's gone too far. We just get lost in the weeds right away. It needs to stop. Destiny is the worst offender by far. And then his DGG people come into my chat and then they repeat the fucking analogy.
I wonder what this guy's analogy was.
Yeah, we are just trying to go where the votes are. We're just trying to win elections. Well, first of all, you haven't won a swing state in God knows how long.
Well, I mean, generally speaking, it's probably a good idea to go to where the voters are at for elections.
You lost to Donald Trump in 2 elections and lost every swing state along the way. All of a sudden, the polls show the Democratic Party doesn't actually care about popularism. It cares about polls when it's in their favor, and for instance, neoliberalism. But when they aren't, oh, this is an existential crisis that we all need to band together, like we're the Avengers. Yep. And in this case, instead of Thanos being fascism, Thanos is people saying, hey, we might need some public transportation. We might need to freeze rent. So that agency, that all of a sudden, transportation, we might need to, instead of Thanos being fascism, Thanos is people saying, hey, we might need some public transportation. We might need to freeze rent. So that agency, that all of a sudden...
Speaking of blanket bans, I really am calling for a blanket ban on analogies in the political space. It's gone too far. We just get lost in the weeds right away. It needs to stop. Destiny is the worst offender by far. And then his DGG people come into my chat and then they repeat the fucking analogies. It's too much. It is bad. I am similarly very hyped for Doomsday. My God.
The biggest problem I have with Hutch is that he just wants to win the election and he thinks everything's going to be solved and he doesn't want to do anything different. No, I'm just kidding. I don't actually fully disagree. Analogy should be used when you're having difficulty like understanding a thing. And so maybe you have an analogy to kind of like tease out or test some kind of like moral precept to see if it would hold true in every situation. But the issue with analogy sometimes is Connor was the worst at this, I think. And there are others that do this too, where they'll explain a thing and then they want to give an analogy immediately. And then you haven't even gotten to talk about the thing because they just immediately launch into an analogy. Like, whoa. We don't need, I think I've said this a few times today. So like, I don't need an analogy. Let's just talk about the thing we're talking about. Why do we need an analogy here? Like, analogy should only be used to flesh something out more or to, if there's something that's like unclear, then it's like, okay, well, imagine if it was like this and this, right? You know, what would we say here? And then if we think it's analogous, then it holds, right? If it's disanalogous, then we say, well, it's not the same because of this. And then you do that, yeah. I don't necessarily disagree. I think sometimes they harp on analogies too much, sometimes for improper reasons, yeah. Like imagine somebody wanted to serve you a piece of chicken, but instead they killed your child and they were like, it's the same. Just kidding.